Hey, welcome to 1500ESPN.com. We got a Vikings video coming up here. Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, I'm Derek Wetmore. Before we get started, boys, I want to tip some people off for how we plan to cover the draft. We will have a Vikings chat with Andrew Kramer and I at Winter Park. These two knuckleheads running the show in the studio will all be dropping stuff into that chat, so come by, chat with other Vikings draft enthusiasts, and we'll give you as much information as we have.
Yeah, on the air. So we'll be in studio. We'll be running the chat on the website, and then on the air from 6 o'clock until whenever it's over. And they might trade back into the first round. So
it could be a long night.
Hold it down. If you weren't sick of 4 hours of Mackey and Judd in the morning, you're going to get like 4 or 5 hours again at night. We'll kind of combine the national coverage of ESPN Radio with some local tie-ins and talk to you guys from Winter Park. So
we'll have the live updates from on
Thursday
site.
and Thursday and Friday too. And Friday this year could be as interesting as Thursday.
Yeah.
Let's get into that a little bit. I want to talk about the draft, and that's why I brought you boys here. Some opinions or what you think they should do, what you think they will do, whatever. As you mentioned, Judd, and I've heard you talk about this before, I'll let you elaborate on that.
Thank you.
Friday could be a pretty interesting depending on how Thursday goes.
Well, my theory is this. The Vikings are not going to take a quarterback at 8. There's a better chance if a quarterback is there, they trade back and still take defense in the first round. The only question becomes, do they then try to get back into the end of the first round, take a quarterback to get that fifth-year option? I could see that happening, but I could also see the Vikings using the 8th pick, trading back, whatever, not taking quarterback in round 1, Phil, and then second round, take a QB there, which is why, go back and look. The Patterson trade, which was a great trade for the Vikings last year, got them back in the first round at 29th pick, but they didn't have a second or third round pick. They were idle on Friday. This year, I contend that for Vikings fans, Friday might be more interesting, actually, than Thursday.
It's interesting. Actually, Gessling on ESPN.com wrote, he went back at the last few drafts and kind of noted that Spielman likes to have 10 draft picks to play with so he can move around in position. He's got 8 this year. So if he's comfortable with 9 or 10 draft picks maneuvering around, it makes even more sense that they'll trade down, try to acquire an extra pick. It just does it from what he said yesterday. It was 30 minutes of speaking in circles like he always does, and just kind of trying to dictate some of the message, but not really. But the one theme that I really picked up, sort of reading between the lines, it doesn't feel like he wants to take another risk like they did in 2011. It doesn't feel like, it feels like, I don't know if gun shy is the right term, but they got burned so badly on Christian Ponder that they don't want to do that again. And there's so many other needs. You know, if you have somebody if somebody that you have, let's say 3rd overall, if Johnny Manziel is your 3rd overall guy in your draft board, he falls to 8, okay. If not, if there's not that much separation between the rest of the pack, then it doesn't make any sense to draft a quarterback at 8. It makes sense to trade down, take a defensive player. I think it's going to be, I'll just go on the record, I think they trade down and draft either a cornerback or a linebacker, and then take a quarterback with their second pick.
I was going to say the same thing, so I'm not piggybacking off your theory. In fact, I got a column coming on this later today. But if you're asking my opinion right now, and this is outside speculation,
yes, what's your opinion?
Reading stuff. Thanks for asking, Judd.
No problem.
I think they're going to trade down from 8 into the mid-teens range, take a defensive player like Phil just suggested, and then I think, like Judd said earlier, they are going to trade back into the end of the first round and take a quarterback. I don't know exactly who that would be. The speculation in that area would be Derek Carr. But I guess this is going to be a fascinating draft for Vikings fans because of how many unsolved and unanswered questions there are right now.
That's the thing about this. If you think about the needs now, it's almost sort of fun.
Yeah.
There's been speculation that they take a defensive lineman. They don't have a ton of needs there, but it wouldn't hurt them, right?
Especially if it's a,
linebacker. I'm there a week ago Wednesday. Chad Greenway's your only linebacker, really.
And he's 30.
Yeah.
And we all assume he didn't play well last year because he didn't have much help. But what if he just didn't play well and he's 30?
And now if you think these young kids are developing at linebacker, which they might, that's one thing.
Audie Cole and Michael
But come on, Jasper Brinkley. Jasper Brinkley is a complementary type linebacker. If he's your starting middle linebacker, I don't know, I like that. And you can never have enough corners. And Xavier Rhodes is a nice corner. They signed, yeah, exactly. So they've got 2 corners. You need 3. If you don't have, in fact, you're better off having 2 competent linebackers and 3 competent corners because you are, in this division especially, with Rodgers and Stafford and Cutler, you are in the nickel package so much, you're better off having 3 really good corners and 2 really good linebackers.
Yeah. The other thing, too, to factor in is no matter where they draft a quarterback, it works out better whether you're rebuilding for this year or down the road, or whether you think you can win 10 or 11 games. It makes sense to have that guy hold a clipboard all season. So you're hoping, if you do draft a quarterback, you're hoping Matt Castle doesn't get hurt or doesn't turn into the pumpkin Matt Castle from 2011 that he can actually play well. Because the worst thing that can happen is if you put a deer in the headlights out there and it regresses his career, and all of a sudden you're back to the 3 wins.
I agree with that. I think it's going to be interesting, though. You draft a quarterback, and the Vikings start out 0-3, 0-4, and Matt Castle's not playing well.
But you can't.
The schedule is really tough at first too. So these are scenarios that could present themselves. But you can't
cave to that, which is why I think you take one either late first round,
so there's not the pressure,
or second round. Because here's the thing: there's going to be immediately when they take a quarterback, there's going to be all this excitement and buzz, right? What the Vikings need to do, part of their PR campaign has to be to diffuse that buzz for a while and say, this guy's going to learn. Yeah. We're not going to rush this guy. Castle's going to be our quarterback. And so in 2015, when you come back, there's pressure on the potential young starter, but it's a way different deal than if he's thrust in there in 2014 as a rookie.
And one final thing on the quarterback conversation. Let's say you drafted Derek Carr late first round, early second round, and he's the 4th quarterback off the board. You're never going to think, well, the odds of this guy, if you're the Vikings and Rick Spielman, you're not going to think, well, the odds of this guy panning out are 1-12 or 1-15. But the odds of that guy panning out are 1-12 or 1-15.
Historically speaking.
So that's another thing, too, as Vikings followers, Vikings fans. If they draft the 4th or 5th quarterback off the board, late first round, early second round, whatever it may be, we can't have these blind expectations that this guy's the next Tom Brady. Because only 1 in about 15 of the Russell Wilsons pan out. Yeah. The rest of them are guys that you've never heard of because they're out of the league.
How about the next Joe Webb?
That's right.
I still contest if they would have put him at wide receiver from the get-go. He could have been a valuable player.
I think Derek wants to wrap up.
That'll be another video some other time.
If somebody drops a Joe Webb theory, you know it's time to just break the video off. Thanks for coming to the website.
Maybe face Judd out.
That's right.
I was going to say, here, I'll do it myself. Would you like some pancakes?
Get out of here. Thanks for coming to the website. Make sure to check back Thursday night. We'll have all your draft coverage from studio and on 1500ESPN.com. For Judd Zolgad and Phil Mackey, Derek Wetmore, thanks for watching.